Hey, isn't it fun to see old friends right at the death of democracy?
Yep. Yes.
She might still have time to save it. It's our friend AG from Mueller, She Wrote, and I can say now her name's Allison Gill. Her name's Allison Gill.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Hey.
And yeah.
Hi, AG. Hi. I asked you, do you know how many times I start a sentence with our friend AG from Mueller, She Wrote says? And then I read one of your tweets to see what's up.
Steph Miller, it's been a pandemic since I've seen you.
It has been some, right? You have just launched MSW Media, which includes the wildly popular The Daily Beans, which you have poached our Dana Goldberg for one of those shows, which I could not be happier about. Mueller, She Wrote, Clean Up on Aisle 45, and ready, everybody, the heavyweights. Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner.
Yep.
The Bureau with Frank Flaguzzi. What? These are my man people. And also On Topic with Renato Mariotti. I mean, that is a lineup. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we just brought on Opening Arguments too, and we're in talks with a couple of others. And great. It's been great fun. It's a small, group of a little modest group of like-minded
democracy warriors. Ma'am.
There,
yeah.
But I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And do we get to talk about the Crazy Times Carnival recount in Arizona?
Absolutely. Oh yes, go ahead, please. Yeah. That's why I opened with that. Let's go ahead. Your thoughts on the fraud?
Like you said, Chris, fundraiser, right? This
yes.
is to raise money. My fear is that this is to harvest voter information. Right, so that they can get all that information and sell it to the highest bidder, or keep it for themselves and use it for the kind of stuff that they use, the social media manipulation. But I've been calling it the Fraud It or the Crazy Times Carnival recount, because they had in the parking lot a thing called the Crazy Times Carnival. So I thought that fit really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're saying, AG, is it's we can laugh at it, and yet it's really dangerous. And now this is why Josh Shapiro was on last night. It can be cut 11. He's talking about, because, they just had Republicans there going, yeah, this is the gold standard. We got to start this in Pennsylvania now, right? And Josh Shapiro.
But notwithstanding the sham and notwithstanding this travel and this circus that surrounds Donald Trump and his enablers, what they're doing is inflicting real damage to our democracy. By continuing to peddle this big lie, they are really undermining our Constitution. They're undermining our system.
I mean, and again, AG, let's just one more, just the straight line to January 6th.
And we saw what happened in those weeks after the election, where the lie was being told over and over and over again. And you could draw a direct line between not just the rhetoric that was occurring on the stump, but what was occurring in the courts of this Commonwealth and of this country, which ultimately led directly to the insurrection on January 6th. There's real damage to our democracy. There's real threats of violence as a result of folks like those Pennsylvania lawmakers continuing to suck up to Donald Trump and to do his bidding for him.
Yeah. I mean, AG, isn't that the fear? This is going to happen again in August. The violence around the reinstallation or whatever that he's calling it that does not exist. Right? Yeah,
he's going to put out some big fake event that won't happen, that will enrage and motivate and mobilize people. And it's also, not to mention the big lie is giving them fodder to pass all of these extremely racist voter suppression bills across the country, hundreds that they're trying to put through. And hey, you know what? Big ups to Texas Democrats for walking out and taking their corn away.
Yeah, don't help us, AG. Help us with what we should do, because I keep saying National Democrats should take a page from that. We got to fight by any means necessary. We are this close to losing our democracy. Like, these laws in state after state are there's only so much we can do, right? Legally and in the courts and state by state. Give us a game plan, because you had some ideas about the filibuster. You said, I wonder if we can convince a couple of Republican senators to make up for Manchin and Sinema to vote to mini-nuke the filibuster only for voting rights bills, since voter suppression bills prevent some Republicans from voting too. I mean, that's the thing. It's trying to vote by mail. All that stuff is hurting everybody. I mean, do you think that's possible?
I don't know. First of all, I don't know what's going on with Manchin and Sinema, but I think because they will not touch the filibuster, even in a mini nuke situation. But perhaps if we spoke to, because I call this the Longshanks paradox, right? Remember in Braveheart when he pulls the archers out and he's like, but won't we hit our own men? And he's like, yeah, but we'll hit theirs as well. And I feel like this is what they're doing with these voter suppression bills. Then they're just banking on taking out more Democrats than Republicans because they disproportionately impact, communities of color.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, why don't we talk to some Republicans? Because do you remember in 2020 when Donald Trump was like, everyone vote by mail is not reliable, and people in some Republican states were like, shut up, stop saying that. We rely on vote by mail. I'm wondering if there are any Republican senators who feel the same way, who'd be willing to mini nuke maybe like foundational democracy bills like voting rights and like that, to just carve out that little bit so we can get the John Lewis voting rights bill passed. I know Manchin is trying to write his own voting rights bill, but there seems to be bipartisan want for it, but we can't get past that 60 threshold. We would have to at least mini kill the filibuster for that particular bill or bills like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Joe Manchin does that a lot. Remember him, the Manchin to me thing? He's like, I got this gun safety. Don't worry. I can get it done. And then what happened there? Okay. So, speaking of which, Louis DeJoy under FBI investigation.
Yep.
Oh, DeJoy going to jail. Okay, everybody did the joke, but I did it first. I don't care.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you say Dems have the majority on the postal board now. Now, at the very least, would be time to fire DeJoy. And you also, because you get into the weeds on this stuff, you said, I'm aware that Bloom is the holdout on the postal board, but you said, my point is, now that we know he's under federal investigation, Biden needs to push Bloom to fire him. Absolutely, right? I mean, for a thousand reasons before now, but yeah.
Isn't that a reason for the Postal Board of Governors, even the people who really, really love DeJoy, to get together and be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have a postmaster general who's under federal FBI investigation for campaign finance violations. I mean, just seems like an easy win.
And remember how huffy he was when they asked that question? Did you tell employees to donate and then reimburse them? How dare you, sir? I resent that implication. That is whatever. Oh, is it true? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is true.
He was such an extra from The Sopranos. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, like just slimy, smarmy, swarthy, whatever other S words I can think of. But yeah, I don't understand why he's not voted out. And as far as going to jail, you all will remember we had a couple of indictments for straw donors like this during the Mueller investigation. Remember Sam Patton, who was selling inaugural tickets to Russian-backed Ukrainians and donating that money to the inaugural. And he was convicted for that. But I just want to prepare everybody. Sam Patton only went to jail, I think, for like 30 days or something very short. So if DeJoy goes to jail for this, it's not going to be. It's not going to be for very.
Everybody piled on. This story about DeJoy is giving me so much DeJoy. I loved your joke. You said DeJoy, Trump, Ivanka, Jr., Weisselberg, Eric, Tonsing, Rudy, and Matt Gaetz walk into a bar. It's a special bar for people under investigation. See, it was punchline you didn't see coming. It's just a special bar. That's the punchline.
That's funny.
It's a bar where everybody's under investigation. Okay, so Don McGahn testifies today. Talk to us about that. I mean, I guess it's a bare minimum victory that you have got to comply with subpoenas. But I mean, he's only going to testify to what's already public. But what's public is that he helped Donald Trump obstruct justice. Correct? You were the expert. Tell us what's happening today.
Yeah, there were 10 instances or so of obstruction of justice in Volume 2 of the Mueller report. The big ones have to do with McGahn, the ones where you meet all three criteria for federal criminal obstruction of justice. So if you're going to prosecute, those are the ones that you go, the ones that McGahn knows about. So they got him in to say, just tell us that what you said to Mueller was what you meant, and then that this is what you said. And he agrees to do that. So everyone who's like, oh, he's going to plead the fifth or no, he's agreed to do this. Otherwise, he would leave it in the courts, leave it up to the courts. They pulled it off the court docket. Remember, it was in the courts for 2 years as to whether or not he was going to testify. So I think that the Dems on the Judiciary Committee are probably going to make a criminal referral to the Department of Justice after this testimony for obstruction of justice by the former guy. But I don't know that Merrick Garland is going to do anything with it or about it.
Okay. What your feelings on that?
I'm mad. I'm mad.
I mean, I just, that's why you have Glenn Kirshner and why he's my binky, because justice has to come, because I don't understand, AG, how we can just let that go. Not 10 counts of obstruction of justice against a former president. What's come out about the Manafort thing, as Rachel Maddow said, proved what we thought happened. Like, exactly. I mean, as someone that covered this just, it must make you crazy that we're just going to go, oh, well, all that's in the past now, which is, I know how many impeachable offenses ago, but how do we create this precedent is my question.
Yeah, it's really dangerous, because not holding former presidents to account is how we got this last one that we didn't want. It was and is still on the brink of destroying democracy. And you're right. Andrew Weissman, who prosecuted Manafort, said that, they had enough to get him on conspiracy. They didn't charge him with conspiracy because they had him on 18 counts of business and tax fraud, and that was easy. That was the easy part. And the interesting part is that Trump's pardon of Manafort is only for what he was convicted for. So Manafort can be charged with giving internal polling data to a Russian spy, to the Kremlin, and if they don't, I'm just shocked. But specifically the obstruction of justice charges, because you've talked to Joyce Vance, I've talked to Joyce Vance. She's written for years now about how we have to restore faith in the Department of Justice after Barr destroyed it. And the only way to do that, or at least step one, is accountability. Without that.
Well, even in Matt Gaetz, you're like, oops, obstruction of justice is a serious crime, I've heard. I smell cooperation from Milkshake Maddie's ex-girlfriend. I mean, it's just, a lot of times, AG, that crime, obstruction is very serious. That's charged, even if they can't charge the underlying crime. I mean, we have to make crime again. It's crime. Okay, there needs to be.
Make obstruction illegal again.
Yes.
I just want you to listen to Roger Stone. Are you enjoying the big bag of rats fight between him and Steve Bannon? Here we go.
Steve Bannon publicly accused the president of having Alzheimer's. He said the Trump organization was a criminal enterprise. He said that Trump would be prosecuted. I can do this almost verbatim. When the American people learn he's not a billionaire, he's just another scumbag.
Check. Okay. So and then he went on to say,
do we know he really said all that, or just the media said that?
Actually, I'm done with him. Okay, so they want to have they want to have a duel of some sort. It's just all of these characters, right? Coming up again in every illegal plot because we didn't prosecute from the original, well, obviously they got pardoned from the original Mueller stuff, right?
Right. And, I kind of think of it as like stupid Ocean's 11. Like there's only a handful of people who are willing to do this crap because you've seen everything else blows up. Everything Trump touches dies, right? So it's always the same players. Mark Corallo is now representing DeJoy, and he was the guy who stormed off the jet because Trump obstructed justice when he worked with Junior to craft the statement about the Trump Tower meeting. And he was represented by Toensing and DeGeneva, and now he's representing DeJoy. It's just the same group.
That's gonna please get that trending. Stupid Ocean's 11. AG on the Stephanie Miller Show this morning. Can you? I hate to do this. Can you hold on? Because we have a couple big things I have to ask you about real quick. Can you hold on for one break? Okay.